because my overwhelmingly normal reaction would just be to trot something out and just
just stay
not do
there
that.
though.
Yeah.
Because, and you'll find this if you're doing one-to-one work with people, sometimes they'll start to see something and they'll get a little more reflective and puzzled and curious. And they'll be in the unknown like Ian is. And then they'll go, hang on a second, and they'll start going to a more familiar story or an intellectual coding of it. And I always want to go, no, just stay there. There's good. There's different.
Okay.
There's different. There's somewhere something new can happen. Because whatever not sure is for Ian, it isn't his habitual thinking. This isn't what he's used to. And so, you know, rule of thumb, don't take any of this as true, but human beings, we kind of like what's familiar, but we learn from what's new and different. And familiar is what's been holding Ian back from doing something new until now. And so anywhere that I can invite him and guide him to feel something differently, to experience that place. You know, there's a quote by Rumi that I love. He says, forget safety. Live where you fear to live. Destroy your reputation. Be notorious. And I love that idea of live where you've been fearing to live until now. Just being in the unknown and learning to luxuriate in the unknown. There's a Mandy Evans quote. She says, most people are afraid of the unknown, so they create beliefs to make them feel safe. I love the unknown, so I don't need beliefs. And I feel like paraphrasing that and saying, most people are afraid of the unknown, so they grind away at their thinking to make them feel safe. I love the unknown, so I don't need to grind away at my thinking, except when I do. I'm learning to love the unknown. I wouldn't say I'm 100% seducer of the unknown yet, but I'm learning to love it. And it's been slow for me, you know. I've been kind of kicking and screaming. And that's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You're looking good. How you doing? Yeah. So why don't you go and sit down for the moment? And we may come back to you either before the end of the day or tomorrow. But one thing I'll say is if you find yourself kind of jumping back into analysis and that sort of thing, I encourage you just to go, oh, no, don't need to do that. Just stay somewhere, you know, a little less sure of things.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll give it a nudge.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you.
So what did you guys notice in that? I tell you one thing I noticed. When I asked Ian, what do you make of that? Or I can't even remember what the question was. And he said, I'm not sure. I heard that as wisdom in disguise. I didn't hear that as an invitation for me to ask him a better question. I heard that as him telling me that he'd moved into somewhere less certain. Like it seems to me that there's two flavors of certainty. There's the habitual certainty of our habitual superstitious thinking that's sure that it's right. And then there's that kind of deeper knowing that you can experience. And they both seem certain, but one of them's got a much deeper resonance and a greater sanity to it, in my opinion. I wanted to just, and I haven't heard this yet, I just asked Ian if he'd be willing to, I did the one-to-one with him at the front of the room, and I wanted to hear where he is, how things are looking differently now, that he's had a night to sleep on it, and so on. So yeah, how are things?
Sure. There are a couple of things, really. The thing I loved about yesterday was wisdom before yesterday was kind of a bit of a wishy-washy, fluffy concept, really. And I just loved the idea of starting to sort of see that in a higher state of mind, it was how the thinking flowed through to you. And then in a lower state of mind, it was that feeling that told you that your thinking wasn't there. And that made a huge amount of sense to me yesterday. And when we finished the demo, I was just left with a really nice kind of nice warm feeling of not knowing, which to me is kind of like almost a sort of bit of a contradiction in terms, really, to the kind of logical way that I often try and analyse things. And rather than, I did what you suggested yesterday, which was basically drive home and do nothing. And what my normal instinct would be to leap in and replace that with try and work out what's going on and analyse it. And it's just great, just to sort of just stay in that space, really, of not knowing. So quite a nice place to hang out. And that's very different for me.
I love that. See, if I could give you any gift, it would be, if I could give all of you or any of you a gift, it would be to becoming increasingly comfortable hanging out in the unknown. Because if you think about it, all the insights that have done something for you in your life have come from a place of not knowing. Like when you've had an aha, or a oh, or a oh, or a, one of the many varieties of oh. There was 1 minute when you weren't having it, and the next minute you were. There's 1 minute you were in the unknown, and then you saw something. And so, even if you've had a tendency before now to grind away at it and that sort of thing, what I want to offer you is that this willingness to hang out in the unknown and enjoy it is a precursor to what's going to do something for you. So a great example is the ones I gave yesterday of Napoleon and Clausewitz talking about how they would do some research and then they would forget about it and just be reflective, relaxed, clear-headed, and then something would occur to them. And there's no time scale on what's going to occur to you or when, but what I want you to know, Ian, is that place you've been hanging out, that place of hanging out, there's value in hanging out there. There's leverage there. That'll do something for you, because that's where the action is. Because there's no habitual thinking there. And so just being willing to spend some time hanging out there that's going to do something for you.